I'm talking with Beth Seaward, the creator of ResQ's by Seaward, handcrafted jewelry and wall hangings that are made from CDs and DVDs. What is the medium you are using to create your ResQ's?
I use CDs, compact discs, or DVDs, digital video discs, that people don't want anymore and they're going to toss in the trash and then they end up in the landfill.
Why is this important? People toss things every day.
CDs and DVDs are made from polycarbonate plastic, which is mixed with lacquer, aluminum, gold, silver, and nickel. It is estimated that they will take more than 400, some say almost 1,000 years to biodegrade. In 1983, when CDs were introduced into the U.S., 800,000 were sold. By 1990, only 7 years later, this number was over 1 billion. Every month, over 100,000 pounds of CDs become obsolete due to being outdated, useless because they didn't burn correctly, or just unwanted. And CDs weigh almost nothing. Now you can begin to imagine the ecological disaster from e-waste that is happening everywhere.
Is this a local concern?
Yes, this actually is how I began recycling, or some call it upcycling, used discs into jewelry. A friend who works at Mendocino Coast Television mentioned that the trash box they tossed their used discs into was full and had to be taken off to the dump. I thought about the beautiful light which is in a disc and wondered if I could possibly make something from them rather than have them end up in our county landfill, so she gave me a handful to experiment on.
What types of discs do you use?
I use 2 types of CDs, the ones used for computer backups and the commercially made ones which are audio CDs, and 3 types of DVDs. This is a computer backup data. This is one that comes from the local television station, and this one is a commercial movie DVD like you rent at video stores and buy for your own home collection.
They look different.
Yes, a CD has basically one layer of plastic and then the metal layer, which is burned and read by the player, and a DVD has a double layer of plastic which sandwiches the readable data in between.
Does this make a difference in how you can use them?
Oh, definitely. Not only are they different colors when I begin to use them, but they also cut differently and eventually even change color and texture depending upon how I fire or finish the product.
What is your process to turn these into jewelry and wall art?
I began by simply hanging them in a window and adding beads and yarns and so on to create window light catchers. Unfortunately, people thought they looked too much like broken CDs, which maybe had gotten stepped on or cracked, and they didn't go over very well. So I thought, they're so colorful and shiny, what else can I do with them? Then I thought, jewelry, and that's how ResQ's began.
What year was this?
2009.
Did you just instantly create jewelry pieces which were successful?
Not at all. I spent more than a year working with various ways to cut discs and put them together so that I could be reasonably sure of a certain result. Believe me, I got some surprises that year. When I started out, I would use a piece of a disc and just toss the leftovers into a bag to use for something else. Well, even though 2 pieces looked identically purple when I started, when they were fired, suddenly one was purple and one was gold, or pink, or raspberry frost. Since earrings are expected to match each other, I began my envelope system, where I put all the same brands together with notes on what can be expected in the finished product.
The brand makes the difference?
Yes, because the discs have differences in manufacture, different metals, chemicals, dye, etc.
Do you color the jewelry when you put it together?
No. The colors all come from the different discs used. The only thing I might add would be an edging so that the piece looks more finished. Some discs look rather sharp and raw even after they are fired and filed off.
So when you say fired, what is that?
At first I made jewelry just using cut-up discs. But when I stood in the sun, people would squint and shade their eyes. I realized the jewelry was really blinding, so I devised ways to soften the light beams and distort the surfaces, so as to retain the wonderful colors but subdue the brightness of the pieces. I used different finishing methods, but mostly I put the jewelry into an oven and melt the surface plastic. That has an added benefit of heat fusing the pieces rather than my having to glue everything together. They become much stronger, and also the surfaces have much more texture variations and different colors are created by the heat.
They look a lot like dichroic glass. Are the earrings heavy like glass?
Absolutely not. They're nearly weightless, which is a really big plus in my book.
Now you mentioned that you're making wall art as well as jewelry.
Yes, my artistic background is in watercolor, pastel, and silk paintings, so eventually I seem to gravitate to things hanging on the wall or in windows. Now I'm using the medium of CDs and DVDs to do that.
So besides the jewelry, you've actually come full circle back to window hangings.
Yes, I guess you're right, but this time I have a lot more knowledge and experience.
So let's sit back and enjoy some examples of Beth's ResQ creations.